Yo, yo. Mic check 1 2. 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 Just waiting on all our fellow coaches to tap in into uh, this week in the PHFL. Just waiting on everybody to tap in, man. We got a jam packed show today, this morning. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. So let's get the fella stuff out the way before we say we should be celebrating you. Hey, Ma, that's cold, bro. Come on, man. I mean, man, where's the love, man? You know what I mean, man? Hey, look, man, we doing this for the fellas first, man. Then we're gonna go out here and celebrate moms, man. But right now, man, it's PHFL game day, man. So let's let's get into exactly what we're going to be focusing on today. We got a lot of action in the PHFL. We actually have a live game going on right now. So when there is action, we got the Miami Dolphins are currently playing against the Arizona Cardinals. Right now, it's 63-49 with 3 minutes and 58 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. So again, if any action pops up with that game, we'll definitely take you there. Also, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into Minnesota against the Rams. I mean, this Rams user, he came in, man, with a lot of bravado. Came in with a lot of which a lot of coaches do in the PHFL. They come in with a lot of bravado, and again, they'll get a taste of the PHFL, and then next thing you know, it really kind of works out for him. So, when there's opportunities, and right now, he's going up against Coach Ballin, and again, when the action presents itself, when Minnesota gets into the red zone, we're going to take you live to Los Angeles for a couple of plays when the Rams get into the red zone or the Vikings get into the red zone. So again, Minnesota is leading the Los Angeles Rams 21-0, and the Miami Dolphins in a shootout are leading the Arizona Cardinals 63-49. So this week in the PHFL, we're going to go through some highlights. We're going to go through the controversial PHFL power rankings. Where is the Kansas City Chiefs after their surprising loss to the Las Vegas Raiders? Where will they fall in the PHFL power ranking? And then also MVP. There was a lot of clamor regarding the MVP with Jordan Love. So we're going to take a look at Jordan Love's stats just to be able to, take a holistic view of Jordan Love and see whether or not his stats are MVP worthy. Just an updated Minnesota. Coach Balding, again, known to throw the ball deep, just threw an interception. Rams got the ball 21-0 Minnesota over the Rams. So let's get to some highlights again in week 6 action. The starting off in Carolina, where the Carolina Panthers were facing off against the Washington Commanders. Now, when you look at the highlights in this game here, one of the things that, again, you probably need to kind of pay attention to, again, is really just looking at it and looking at this particular play. You know that Coach Rail was definitely upset, regarding this play. But I want you to look at it. I'm going to pause it right here. Okay. So we paused it with the catch, right? Well, if you look at it, and I'm going to rewind it just a tad. If you look at it, right, it looks like it was, kind of cheesy. However, when you look at the particular play again, the wide receiver actually got the DB that Rail clicked on actually got bumped. So when you look at the play, look at the wide receivers. I'm going to pause it as soon as he gets on Rail. Okay? Because he'll look at it and say, okay, this is trash. So let's freeze it there. Okay, so you can see right now that, again, he's throwing the ball deep, right? So you see Rail is on Hampton. They created the switch stick, fellas. Switch stick up to that safety, and you probably could have made a play, okay? But again, not understanding the kind of the mechanics of the game. And again, so look at Rail. So Rail right now just clicked on Reeves. So when you look at this, you'll think it's trash. But watch the user, watch Rail run past the wide receiver. It was a high ball, of course, because that's the only reason why you would make that animation if it was a high ball and then with an aggressive catch. And then look at 45, where 45 was able to, the wide receiver was able to shake off that tackle. But again, look at Rail.
He's got it. Look at.
So look at him. See how he ran past him? You can't blame that on the game. That was just a poor tackling mechanic. From the the Commanders. Now look at this play.
To the air on first down.
Again,
Young.
I mean everybody knows on the scene.
Got it.
That's too easy. You're giving up easy touchdowns. Again, let's go back to the instant replay. Again, how can you blame the game on something like this when you're giving up easy touchdowns? So look at it. Everybody knows on that particular route. I mean, look at it. The seam is wide open. Everybody's going to go and throw it right at the seam. And as soon as that DB
to the air on first down, Young.
It's a touchdown. You can't blame the game. You can't blame your defensive coordinator, for that. And again, let's take a look at, a user play. I mean, the running back, again, underneath is wide open. So you can't
working inside the red zone.
So let's freeze it here. Okay, so right now, when you freeze it, so look, you got the running back right there. He probably figured, and then look at the pocket. There was no need to rush the pass, right? Because, again, you got the running back right there as your check down. But, again, he still threw it, threw a book. I mean, you can't blame your players, for that. And as a result, again,
the rookie from Ohio State takes it away. Inside the red zone, they could feel how.
Will continue. Let's take you live to Minnesota to give you some live actions from the Vikings and the Rams. Right now it's 28-0 Minnesota. But again, we don't know whether or not the Rams are going or the Commanders are going to have a coach. At this particular point, it's been up in the air. Coach Rail has been talking with ownership and could possibly be stepping down. But again, we don't know. But looking at it right now, 28-0. Let's see if the Rams can at least get on the board. Got the underneath route. Okay, throws it underneath. Good pass over to. Okay, good pass. So let's see whether or not, again, second quarter, 28-0. Probably not going to, be much of a competitive game with Coach Balding. But again, the Rams user, I mean, he came into the PHFL, with a lot of, bravado and with a lot of, listen, you know what? We're going to make some noise, in the PHFL. So let's see, again, after this drive, we're going to take you to the PHFL Power 5 to go over the rankings. We have a surprising number. And again, the committee, they go through, they crunch the data. They take a look at everything. So again, we're going to take a look at this next play, and then we're going to get you to the PHFL Power 5. Again, first and 10, ball at the 13-yard line. Again, the straight handoff up the middle to Williams. Again, only picked up 2 yards. So we'll get you back to Los Angeles again if the Rams again get inside the I guess they're technically in the red zone inside the 20. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at this next play and see what happens. Stafford back to pass, steps up in the pocket, and that would have been a book. So if he would if Stafford wouldn't have got hit, he definitely would have. That would have been an interception. So let's get you over to the PHFL Power Rankings. So without further ado, here are your top 10, we're really top 8 teams, but we're going to call it 10 teams in the PHFL. And real quick, let me get you back. The Rams just scored. Were we able to catch the touchdown? No, we were not. Okay, the Rams just scored 28-7, Minnesota over the Rams. So PHFL Power 5 right now, and this is probably a tentative number 1. But again, they were number 2 in last week's ranking. So the Buffalo Bills right now are your number 1 team in the PHFL. Hold on, give me a second. Let me get this corrected ASAP. Hold on. It's number 7. Okay, number 2 in the PHFL is your Dallas Cowboys. Again, undefeated on the season. Great victory over the the Detroit Lions in their last game. So they come in at number 2 in the PHFL power ranking. Number 3 is your New York Jets. Again, their only loss happens to be to the number 1 team right now in the PHFL Power 8, Buffalo Bills. So the Jets come in at number 3 in the PHFL power rankings. Number 4 is your Green Bay Packers coming in. They're undefeated on the season. They're coming in at 8-0. Again, not necessarily the toughest schedule, but as we say in the PHFL, you only can play, who's on your schedule. And right now, the Green Bay Packers are 8-0 on the season. Definitely going to be looking forward to their matchup against the hated rival Detroit Lions, which actually is up next. So this is going to settle it all as far as Green Bay and Detroit. There's no love lost. Neither one of these teams are going to be exchanging Christmas cards. Neither one of these teams are going to be sending well wishes to each other's mothers. There's hatred. So we're definitely going to see at our PHFL game of the week. Hopefully we can get this synced up so we can do some live broadcasts with this game. But right now, again, Green Bay and Detroit up next. LA Chargers are coming in at number 5. Mike got to win. Again, another barn burner, knocked off the Arizona Cardinals in last-second fashion. But again, they're coming in at 6-1 on the season. Number 6 in the power rankings is the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers right now are 7-1 after a good, tough win over the Denver Broncos. They're coming in at number 6. And the Kansas City Chiefs, even though, again, they lost to the Jaguars, the committee kind of looked at their body of work. They looked at, again, really just looked at their body of work, and the committee felt like they shouldn't have dropped all the way out of the PHFL Power 8, especially when you look at their strength of schedule and wins over the Chargers and the Falcons. They're coming in at number 7. And the Detroit Lions, who were out of the PHFL Power 8 last week, make their return at number 8. And again, they have a big matchup against the Detroit Lions or the Green Bay Packers next week. Again, must-see TV. You got to lock in. You got to make sure that everybody is locked into that game because, again, there's no love lost between those two teams. And then PHFL, the Jacksonville Jaguars drop out of the top 8. Again, no surprise. Again, they had a tough game against the Green Bay Packers, which we kind of figured that, again, they would have, that type of tough matchup with the Green Bay Packers. And something new to the segment, or to at least to the power rankings that we added, is the team on the rise. And right now, that is the Atlanta Falcons. Right now, the Falcons are 5-2. There are 2 losses, again, are 2 teams in the PHFL Power 8, which is the Falcons. The lost to Carolina, and they lost to Kansas City. But right now, the Falcons are now 5-2. Kyle Pitts has been literally unleashed. And looking at their upcoming schedule, they have Coach Woe in Tampa Bay. They have Dallas. So their next 2 games, you get a couple of wins there, knocking off Tampa Bay and knocking off Dallas. Atlanta definitely could be a team that is going to be knocking on that Power 8 door, and probably ultimately wind up getting into the PHFL Power 8. So again, right now as it stands, your Buffalo Bills Mafia, are the number 1 ranked team in the PHFL. Number 2 is the Dallas Cowboys. Number 3, the New York Jets. Number 4, the Packers. Number 5, the Chargers. Number 6, Carolina. Number 7, the Chiefs. Number 8, Detroit. And the team on the rise is your Atlanta Falcons. Now, getting you over to the MVP. Again, I think there was a lot of, especially there was some stat padding is what some of the coaches have accused the Green Bay Packers of, especially Jordan Love in their last game. But again, you got to take a look at, the stats for what they are. And Jordan Love right now, again, he's having a great season. Right now, I think he's the MVP front runner. Again, 3,761 yards of offense, 44 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, QBR of 120. Again, one of the best young quarterbacks in the PHFL. And, you gotta tip your hat. And just looking at kind of, and again, I understand the fact, looking at the schedule. He has a couple of games coming up against some elite coaches in the PHFL, but right now he is head and shoulders above Brock Purdy, and Mahomes literally threw up on himself last, and we'll take a look at that game against the Raiders. He's literally out of MVP consideration right now. But again, right now I believe it's Jordan Love's literally award to lose. Again, Justin Fields is still right there. And again, normally with this, it's a quarterback award for the most part, unless you have unless you have somebody that's done, something amazing, when it comes to receiving or rushing. It would have been interesting to see whether or not A-Chain could have won MVP the year that Coach BG was literally, setting records, with A-Chain. But again, normally this is a MVP. This is a quarterback award. And looking at, the quarterbacks right now, it's again, you look at it, it's Jordan Love. Brock Purdy, again, I don't think from a statistical perspective and just, from a wins and loss, I don't think he'll be able to garner enough votes. Again, Patrick Mahomes, let's just take a look at it, because you have to see it. And again, we'll get the highlights of that game for our week 7. Right now, we were focusing on week 6. Again, coaches, get your uploads saved, so that way we can go in and grab some of the great content from the PHFL. But looking at the game, again, it wasn't as, the Raiders had a phenomenal offensive game plan. Again, they only had 350, and you say only, air quote, 359 yards of offense. They were 6 for 10 on third down conversions, which is was excellent, but 7 turnovers. Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback, period. Hands down, it's not even close. 24 for 38, 397 yards, 4 touchdowns, but 7 interceptions. You're not going to win a game. And touchdown Tommy Millette. 71 yards on the ground. Let's take a look at this kid. Let's take a look at touchdown Tommy. Touchdown Tommy, again, rookie. undrafted from Montana State. I think this might have been I don't know if this was that dual threat quarterback that they were talking about that played multiple positions. But looking at this kid, okay, 93 speed, that makes sense. Doesn't have the greatest throwing power. Accuracy is okay. It's decent enough. But I think that speed is really what gave the Raiders or gave the Chiefs all that they can handle. And again, you gotta salute it to Touchdown Tommy. Touchdown Tommy had 71 yards on the ground. He had 212 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. It had 4 interceptions. But again, when you put up 45 points after, again, having 7 turnovers gifted to you, then of course, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to be able to come out, with a win, again right now in Week 8 action. The Baltimore Ravens, again, as soon as you kind of give them their flowers, as soon as you show them some love, they turn back into a pumpkin. Lamar Jackson, 10 for 30, 293 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. So literally the 2 best quarterbacks. And again, let's look at, we don't have to. Does it give me? That's a search. Oh, search. I can do it this way. So literally, 2 of the best players. I mean, when you look at it, there's Lamar. 99 overall with 9 freaking interceptions. That's tough. That's tough. You're not going to win any game. The Cleveland Browns right now, and let's look at the standings, because it looks like slowly but surely that Coach FB is starting to get his bearings underneath of him. And right now, you look at it, they're 2 games behind, but they hold the tiebreaker. Again, they have another matchup upcoming, so this is going to be a 2-team race between the Browns and the Ravens for the AFC North division. The Jaguars are literally running away with the AFC South. However, we just hired a new Houston Texans owner, and he's chopping at the bit to get involved and get active and say, listen, we're trying to make a playoff push. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see the Titans and the Jaguars link up as we continue for the remainder of the season, especially now with us hiring a new Houston Texans coach. The Bills and the Jets. This is one of the toughest divisions in the PHFL. Again, they're going to come down to the wire, with that division. Just bare knuckles. You got the number 1 and the number 3 ranked teams in the PHFL. So again, they're going to come down to bare knuckles. Quick scoring update: Minnesota 44, the Rams 7. I think this was the Ram user that said, listen, he's not going to lose. I think I need to start grabbing, what was said in the chat segment. So grab some of those chat some of those chat messages and save them and put it into one of the segments what coaches are talking about, because I'm 95% sure this kid said he's going to come in, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he said he was going to bet money that he wouldn't lose, and right now it's 44-7 Minnesota over the Rams. Looking at the AFC West, again, this right now is a 2-team race with the Chiefs and the Chargers being both at 6-1. Some good competitive divisional races in the AFC. Same thing with the NFC North. Again, Packers and Lions. They're matching up next week. 8-0 Packers against the 6-1, about to be 7-1 Detroit Lions. Again, 2 elite offenses going head to head. Even in the NFC South, you got the Panthers at 7-1 against the Falcons at 5-2. So again, just a good competitive divisional race. The NFC East is by no stretch of the imagination, it's out of it, with the Cowboys at 6-0, Eagles at 4-2. Again, we're not sure with Coach Rail and the Commanders. From all that we've heard, Coach Rail's cleaned up his locker, turned in his key card, turned in his laptop. We're not sure right now what the status is for the Commanders coach. But again, right now they're in 4th place in the division. And then even the NFC West, again, Coach Senna, right now with a game and a half lead over the Rams. It'll be 2 games because the Rams right now are getting destroyed 44-7. You got Seattle, and then you got Coach Chronic. Coach Chronic, let's take a look at the Cardinals, because this team easily could be 4-3 on the season. Just 2 heartbreaking losses. Again, looking at it, 49-42 last second loss, and then 32-29 last second loss. Easily turn those to W's, and they're 4-3 right in the thick of things in the NFC West Division. Taking a look at the upcoming schedule for week number 9, kind of looking at what are some of the games that should pique the league's interest. Let's see. Again, we already talked about Green Bay and Detroit. Again, that's going to be your PHFL game of the week, and we'll go through the pick'ems. Let's see. Jacksonville and the Eagles should be very interesting. Tampa Bay and Kansas City. Definitely want to take a look at Tampa Bay, and also look at Kansas City, see whether or not they can bounce back. This is going to be a good one. The undefeated Cowboys against the Falcons. That's definitely going to be a good game. We got the new Texans user. We told him to sit tight. You got some games upcoming. He's going to go up against Coach Shifty. You got the Commanders and the Giants. Miami and the Bills. Coach Wolf got some talent out there in Miami, so that's going to be a good matchup as the Rams threw another interception. Man, it's getting ugly out here. Miami and the Bills. Again, that should definitely be a good matchup as well. You got the Chargers against the Browns. You got the Broncos against the Ravens. Now, let's take a look at the pick'em section. This is okay. So right now, as far as correct, Coach Woe is your PHFL GOAT. He only got it by one. Everybody. We got to make sure we go into the chat and make sure we vote. Maybe one thing we can do, Coach Commissioner Schiff, is maybe giving some type of an award to the person that gets the most correct. Maybe at the end of the season, whoever gets the most correct can maybe get like a star dev, or I don't know, maybe a superstar dev. Just throwing something out there. But right now, Coach Woe got 32 correct. Coach TDG got 31. Coach Wolf 28. Yale's 28. Twitch 26, and the old ball coach 22. Let's see who's stinking, man. Well, you know what? This could be just a matter of them not actually picking the games. So again, maybe we'll just lean more towards the top. But again, maybe that's something we can look at as a committee to award the person. Not only with the engagement in something that we're trying to promote in the league just to keep the fun, but just reward the person that also with the engagement. But more importantly, not only the engagement, but actually getting the most correct. And looking at, again, we already know. I think right now, the Raiders, I don't like. Again, this is like crazy with the PHFL, because like it's going to be almost impossible. So let's look at week 7. So again, you got 7 that pick Shump and 6 that pick Rail. So again, that it's going to be tough. Look, you got Shifty, you got Woe, you got Wolf, you got Yales, you got Deezy, and you got True Gamer. You got Shump, the old ball coach, Ballin, Casino, TDG, Whoop, and Spotify. Again, that one could have been 50-50. So again, that wasn't like kind of a no-brainer. This one here, again, we had Shifty, you had Ballin, you had Spot, you have True Gamer. We knew that the Lions, after they lost to the Cowboys, were going to come locked in. They're going to come locked in, loaded. So we kind of figured that they was going to win this game. Again, and then looking at 45-43. Again, Yale's, Whoop, and True Gamer. Wow, True Gamer figured that Seattle was going to beat Atlanta. So again, that was one again that I think most probably figured that the Falcons was going to pull it off. 13-3. Okay, so most people predicted Kansas City to win the game except for Schiff, Casino, and Whoop. So I think right now, looking at it, like there wasn't kind of one of the, we're going to call it like the PHFL bracket buster. Like just looking at some of these games, it could have like went like either way. The Ravens, 10 picked the Ravens. See, it could have. See, Chargers. Yeah, so it literally could have went either way. So you can't like now when you get to hold on week number. Let's see if we have week number. Hold on. Okay. So this week here. So nobody. Okay. Oh, we didn't. I don't think we got it. Did we get it posted? No, we didn't get it posted. Or maybe it doesn't show until. It may not show until after the completion of the week. But the first game right here is this is the bracket buster. So it's not even a need to even go through and see who won or not, because right now it's almost like there's every game there's like a bracket buster. Like which game is going to be the game that's going to cost you the opportunity to get that day of upgrade? You know what I mean? So it's like, man, like which one? So if you look at, let me look at week 9. Like which game, if we really look at it, that we can say, you know what, is probably going to be like that bracket buster in week number 9. I would probably say, let me see, week 9. Oops. Get out of here. What are you doing? Okay. The Green Bay, man, what is it doing? Green Bay and Detroit is going to be, that's just going to be that's going to be like a 50-50. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those, like either one of those picks. Philly and Jaguars, I think most people are probably going to ride with Philly on this one. Minnesota and the Colts, probably Minnesota. Dallas and Atlanta, that's going to be the one right there. And again, it's going to be 50-50. So I guess you really can't consider that a bracket buster when you go like 50-50. Wolf and Yales. I think probably 80% of the league is going to pick Yales. I got a sneaky suspicion that Wolf is going to upset him. So mark that down. That's my pick right there. Coach Wolf knocking off the number 1 ranked PHFL leader, Coach Yales. That's my upset. That's going to be the bracket buster right there. I got 2. I got Miami over Buffalo, and I got Cleveland over the Chargers. Those are my 2. So listen, this is the PHFL. Good morning, PHFL. Great show. Again, make sure you get your clips highlighted. So that way, again, we can make sure that we get your stats and everything, or get your highlights added to the show. Getting a lot of love from, got a message from Neon, getting a lot of love from our YouTube, things that we're promoting for the YouTube channel. So again, going back to the PHFL Power 5, right now, your Buffalo Bills are number 1, followed by the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Jets, Green Bay Packers, Los Angeles Chargers, Carolina Panthers, Kansas City Chiefs, Detroit Lions. Dropped out of the PHFL Power 5, Power 8 rather, is your Jacksonville Jaguars, and the team on the rise is the Atlanta Falcons. Again, you better watch out for the Atlanta Falcons. I think again they're going to be a team that you definitely have to reckon with in the upcoming remainder of the season. Again, looking at the rookies, or not even the rookies, I'm sorry, the MVP. Again, Jordan Love. I mean, he's your MVP frontrunner. I don't think you can. I don't think you can question it right now. You can probably question the competition. You say, I wake up to this. Okay, stay tuned, say less. I'm just saying, Coach. I mean, there's no disrespect. You know, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Coach Yales. You got to bring it. Now, again, I just got a sneaky suspicion that Coach Wolf gonna have his A game. Especially, there's no love lost between y'all two. You know, the Bills and the Dolphins hate each other. I think it's gonna be a little extra added in there for Coach Wolf. But again, you know what? You're number 1 in the PHFL, Coach. And then wait, how am I below dudes? I mean, okay. Again, let's. You know what? I mean, we're gonna answer the questions. So right now. Again, you're looking at the PHFL power ranking, right? And so the question was just asked, in our channel by a coach. He said, "How am I below the Jets? How am I below Dallas? And how am I below Buffalo?" So okay, we're going to answer that question because this is how, as far as the committee and what the committee, what they look at, what they focus on, and just kind of give you like inside the kind of inside the locker room. So okay, let's look at the Green Bay Packers. We're gonna first, we're gonna go with the Green Bay Packers. So hold on, let me get here, okay, and then let me get. Oops, no, not TV. We want to get to. Yep, we can take this off. Oh, nope. I want this off and take that off. Okay, so now looking at the Green Bay Packers, right? The question was asked in our PHFL interactive chat. How can I be below teams that we're undefeated and they have a loss? Where do you see a quality win for the Green Bay Packers on this schedule? That's rhetorical. But again, it's no quality wins. You got the Eagles, okay, week 1. You got the Colts, I don't even know if the game was played. The Titans, doubtful if the game was played. Again, you can, I guess, balling, but right now, balling is an under 500 team. You are what your record says you are. Then you got the Cardinals, you got the Rams, you got the Texans, you got the Jags. Yeah, they were. So you have the Jags again. That I guess. But again, so hold on. So again, it's an interactive chat. The Jags were in there, not necessarily because they were a quality opponent. We looked at it and they were against the Carolina Panthers. But looking at their schedule, their I guess kind of claim was a good loss to the Buffalo Bills. However, hold on. Let's look at since you say, hey, listen, I'm below, for example, the Buffalo Bills. Okay, so the Buffalo Bills, looking at their schedule, they have probably the best win of the season thus far, especially when you focus on the timing of that win was against the undefeated New York Jets. Again, the New York Jets, as far as that win, triples anything that Green Bay has done thus far. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, they defeated the Detroit Lions. And when you look at what was the other team that was above the Packers? We mentioned Buffalo. We mentioned Dallas and the Jets. Oh, the Jets. Well, you don't have to look at the Jets, but if you wanted to look at the Jets just for the sake of, what did the Jets do, or who have the Jets played, in order to, deserve that type of, ranking. Looking at the Jets again, they started off destroying, San Francisco, put up a freaking basketball score against Tennessee, destroyed New England, destroyed Denver, beat up on Minnesota. They lost to Buffalo. So again, just looking at kind of the stretch of coaches that they've played, again, and then they were undefeated. So that warranted, again, them being above the Packers in the committee's, overview of it and review of it. But again, there's still a lot of football remaining, and looking at the Packers' remaining schedule. So let's just kind of look at kind of a strength of schedule. And that may be something we may add in, just kind of look at the winning percentages of the teams that's in the Power 8, and maybe add that as another component as well. So right now they have Detroit. Okay, we got a new Chicago user. They have San Francisco. They got Miami. They got Detroit. They got Seattle, Minnesota, Chicago. So this is definitely a 13 win team, 14 win team. And again, it depends on which coach. Did they already pay Minnesota? Oh, hold on. Okay, Minnesota, they won. Okay, so it depends on which. If Coach Ballin, the one that's locked in, when you get towards the end, and so you probably really look at it and say, probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 5, because again we don't know about the Bears user yet, but 5 good opponents that's going to definitely put some type of test on the Green Bay Packers. But again, that's the kind of the rationale and the reasoning, behind selecting those 3 teams over the Green Bay Packers. Again, went through some PHFL highlights. Again, just looking at the
working inside the red zone.
Really focus on the Commanders against the
forces one through double coverage. It's intercepted.
I'm not sure what the jump is for. And again, just looking at another play for a touchdown. Again, Coach Rail was frustrated.
To the air on first down. Young.
Not sure, why he got it. Just a bad defensive play. And then looking at again just a play that was just a bad user play.
He's back to throw.
Deep. Didn't use a switch stick.
Trying for the deep ball.
When that safety, he would have got it. Took a
He's got it at the 30.
And somehow broke, and the Carolina Panthers destroyed the Washington Commanders. So this is your boy, the old ball coach, man, signing out from our beautiful studios right outside of Washington, D.C. Listen, everybody who's with the ladies, or if not, hope everybody's loved ones have a wonderful Mother's Day. Celebrate your queens. They rear our children and do a lot, to help the fellas be fellas. So man, celebrate your queens today. And this is your boy, the old ball coach, signing out. Peace.